What's up, boys? Welcome back to another video. This is round 1 of the Michigan High School Team Championships. I'm on board 1, and I'm playing against Cameron Russell as black. We're going to have e4 on the board. I respond to Sicilian, he plays the Alpin. And the Alpin has quite a drawish reputation, but this line is quite fighting, knight f6. Similar to the Alekhine defense, I'm allowing white to overextend his pawns and getting a big center, but I'm going to chip away at it later with some moves, like with the idea of some French, maybe Alekhine defense. And as you can see, I took on d4 and plays d6. This is, I'm just trying to get at white's center, trying to weaken it. And white reinforces it with knight f3, and I attack it once more. And the main line here goes bishop c4, and then knight b6, bishop b5. And here, white thinks for a second. He probably forgot his theory and plays bishop b5 right now. And this is actually a mistake. I have a move that'll give me an advantage right away. And I urge you guys to pause the video and think for a while. Alright, so if you guys pause the video, the move is actually, I was able to find it, queen a5 check, and I'm having an advantage here. So the idea is that in the main line, white plays bishop c4 first, forcing knight b6, and bishop b5 because to avoid queen a5 check. And now knight on d5 is looking at the square on c3, and white is forced to go knight c3. And I can take, and if you calculate these lines, there's a lot of options you have to look at. And you'll be able to find that white is getting in trouble here. So I play queen a5, able to find this move, and white is forced to play knight c3. There's no other options, or else he's losing the bishop. He plays it, and here I calculate it all the way through. I take, and white has an intermezzo here. He's able to take on c6 first, in order not to lose the bishop right away. And it's good to stop here. I stop for a second just to look at extra options. Maybe I can move my king a little bit, but not here. I just have to take back. And here, there's a variety of options. Maybe queen d2, maybe bishop d2. I calculate bishop d2. I can take. He takes on my queen, and I take on b2. And I'd still be a pawn up. He just simply recaptures back, which I don't think is the best way. I think queen d2 would be better. But I take back. He has to not lose the rook, obviously. And he goes bishop d2. I move my queen to d3. There's a lot of squares I can go to, but I think this is the best because I am preventing white from castling. He moves the rook out of the way, maybe potentially going rook c3 to kick my queen. And he's also threatening c6, but I don't have to worry about it. There's queen e4 check, and I'm picking up the rook if he takes. So I get my bishop on the very strong diagonal. He kicks my queen. He doesn't want the queen to be there. It is quite annoying. And I can go queen e4, but I decided to go queen b5. It's also very fun. I am the queen and bishop battery is quite strong, and looking at the king, he goes a4, forcing me to get off the same diagonal as the bishop. And I go queen d5, still quite an active post with the queen. I can't get challenged there, but he goes queen b3, offering a trade. And here there's a decision here whether you should trade or maybe not trade. But here, if I don't trade, white cannot castle, but I'm not so developed either. My bishop's still there, my rook's still like very passive, so I have to just trade. I think that's the best decision. I get developed, e6, bishop a5, and this is comes with quite an interesting idea, and as you'll see in the game. But here there's a decision whether to go d5 and maybe go king d7 to prevent potentially bishop c7. But I decided to just go play simply the bishop e7, just develop, maybe castle, and then decide what's going on. I could have also gone d5. All the moves are pretty fine. And white plays his idea. He goes bishop c7. And here you have to calculate some moves and find the idea. I could take on e5. I could go king d7. I could go d5. And you have to sort of evaluate these positions. It's not necessarily calculation, but there is a decision to be made. So I think for a while here, I could have, the correct move according to the engine is just take on the e5 and going rook c8. But here I wasn't so sure, so I just went king d7 to just keep everything together. This is also very fine. It's not losing the advantage. I still have a pawn up. And he takes on d6, and there's going to be trades happening there. There's also a variation where I can take on d6 and also play f6 just in advance, because if I take with the king, there is going to be knight e5, rook f8, and a little bit annoying for me. I have to put the rook behind the pawn. but I thought it was fine because I'm gonna kick the knight in the next move. So he doesn't play it. He moves the king out, connecting the rooks, and he is actually gonna gain the b file here because I'm not in time to double up against the rooks. He already has the rook there, but it's not a deal breaker. My bishop protects on b7, so the rook can't infiltrate the 7th rank. So it's I'm not so worried about that. He takes, and here I decide to activate my rook. Or there is also knight e5, so I decided to go f6, just preventing the knight from hopping in quite a strong square. And he moves his king up, and there's the variety of moves here, maybe rook c8, but I decided to activate king first. I really like the spot for the king. I mean, d5 square is good outpost for any piece, and I'm putting pressure on the pawn indirectly. And the knight goes to e1. The idea is to go knight d2, knight c5, and at c5 the knight's gonna be a monster. He's touching out all the pawns, all the squares, and I cannot allow that. So if he goes to d3, I can't allow him c5. So either I chop the knight with the bishop or play something else, c5, best line according to the engine. But I play rook c8, which is a slight inaccuracy. c5 would have been better, and when he takes knight d3, I don't have to capture the bishop. I keep the strong bishop, move my king out of the way, and I still have a big advantage because my bishop is stronger. But I wasn't able to find it, rook c8, and this is still a slight advantage for me, not as easily winning if I found c5, but it's not a deal breaker. I take, and here the rook is infiltrating on 7th rank. If rook goes to b7, I will be losing my advantage, so I cannot do that. Cannot allow it. So rook c7, I control the 7th rank. It's quite important because 3 of my pawns are there, and here white is having some counterplay. It's not as easily winning for me because now it's a rook in game, and rook in games are famously drawish. But here I get the break in c5, try to open things up a bit too late, but still with the same effect. I'm just opening things up a little bit. And he takes. I cannot take the rook because rook b7, so I just decide to take the king. And this endgame is still I have an advantage, but it will take some technique for me to convert. He gives a check first, and white is getting some counterplay, which is annoying for me. But this is still winnable. And I go down. I mean, I'm a pawn, so I have nothing to complain about. So this is just technique. And white decides to, this is quite a slow move, rook b4. He could have maybe gone something f4, but here I'm trying to get my kingside majority in action here and create a passer. He plays f4, challenges the pawn chain, trading more pawns. It's a good idea in the rook games to trade down, to just having pawn versus rook and rook. But I give it a check, and this is actually a bad move, a mistake. He moves his king down, very passive, I don't know why. But here, this allows me to win a pawn, if you guys can find it. Yes. And here, he cannot take the pawn, and that'll be a winning pawn, pawn endgame. He moves the rook, and I'm able to win the pawn. But here, I give a check first. It's still quite important to be accurate. I give a check first. You'll see my idea. In order to be able to get back, get my rook, rotate my rook back into the game as fast as possible, I decided to take first. And now the idea is that I can have a check on d4. White gives me a check first, and then you see he attacks the pawn, but now I can give a check with tempo, and I'm able to bring my rook back in time to defend very nicely here on the 7th rank. And yeah, my rook's able to get back in the game very fast. And he's just 2 pawns down now. This is completely winning. I should win this quite easily. He gets some pressure there, but now my king's getting activated. a4 is quite weak because the rook is in a really weird spot and not so active. So he tries to get it back, and my king is getting at the pawn, as you can see, king a5, and the rook has to defend quite passively, being tied down to the pawn. My king is now a very great piece, putting pressure on white. And now I just have to slowly push. As you can see, I'm just slowly improving, getting everything in order. Try to just slowly, I'm not in a rush. There's increment on our clocks, so it's fine. I'm slowly improving. I push the pawn, and the rook can't leave that rank because there is gonna be the pawn's gonna hang, so he stays on that rank. And I find this move rook d4, and yeah, white cannot take, so he has to move out of the way, but I'm able to win a4 pawn. And he attacks on g7, so I have to defend it first. The a4 pawn I can take with the king anytime I want, so I defend on g2, g7. And here I'm asking my opponent, if my friend, can help me notate for me, but he doesn't allow it, so it's whatever. He moves his king, just shuffling. He doesn't really have a plan. And here I'm just winning another pawn. And now I'm going to be 3 pawns up in this position. Completely winning. He attacked my rook. Goes him back. This is just a matter of technique. I'm just going to slowly push the pawns and win the game. But we are quite low on time, maybe 2-3 minutes. So it is important for me not to blunder. And he moves his king. I give it a little check. And just now, I just blundered the pawn. I don't know why I did that. I just didn't see it. But it's still winning. It's not that bad. I'm still 2 pawns up, completely winning. But quite a embarrassing mistake there. Just held a pawn for no reason. But it's fine. I continue to try to queen my pawn. It's just a bit more difficult now to win, but still winning. He tries to get some checks, but he runs out and he tries to defend. The lone rook cannot actually stop the pawn and the king. So I'm able to push this pawn pretty far down the board. He tries to trade the pawns on the king side, but I'm not going to allow it so easily. I mean, if he trades down, there could be a chance, but no, not today. I'm blocking it up. White is running out of moves, and I'm able to push the pawn further. The idea is for white to maybe go behind the pawn and try to give checks and force my king in a really bad spot, but white doesn't find the idea, and I'm able to get my king even further down the board. He tries to now he tries to go back and hook me, but it's way too late. I actually spot the attack on f7, f6, and now he starts hooking from behind, and now the king is kind of in a weird spot. And I will need some help from the rook in order to queen this pawn. But first I play e4. He can't take it. I'll take, and this will be winning. So white goes up, and yeah, I'm forcing white to kind of sort of take. I mean, he tries to use the rook, but there's 2 passed pawns very close to queening, so it's very hard. If he takes, I'll be queening, so he's checking me a check, give me a check. He's gonna run out, but he actually has this idea, rook a6. So I have to try to defend it. Now he gives another check, so now I have to just I go to my second pawn for cover from the checks, and I'm able to queen one of these pawns. And white can go rook e6, but he goes the other way. But I will just queen this pawn, and he takes it, but this pawn is going to queen. He can't stop any. Yeah, he can't stop it. And here he gives a check, and here he thinks for a moment. There's really no move to prevent it. He has to give up the rook, but of course that would be completely winning. So he thinks for a while, and this is just winning for him, and for me. And he last desperate attempt, but it doesn't work. I just move my king out of the way, and this pawn's queening. And yeah, there's no other move. He thinks for a while, and yeah, he plays his last move, and I queen. I promoted a knight actually, a fork, which is pretty funny, but I just win the game. Take home the bag. This is probably a fun game for me. I think I played quite well, aside from a few misses, slight inaccuracy here. They're missing c5, but that was round 1. We take home a good game, and I'll see you guys in the next video.